I gotta tell you, it's been really interesting watching the odd love-hate relationship going on in the Destiny community right now with the Khvostov Exotic Auto Rifle. I happen to love this exotic in PvE, which is why it pains me that so much of the discourse going around about the gun right now is regarding its current effect in PvP. Today, we're going to talk about the ups and downs of the new exotic, both in PvE and PvP, why it's so popular, why it's loved, why it's hated, and why many players are calling for a nerf, either to the gun itself or to its accomplice in crime, which we'll get to later. But before we get any further, today's video is sponsored by Factor, so let's thank them real quick. I've been partnered with Factor for quite a while now and continue to sing their praises on stream, like for real. Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success really easily. Skip the grocery store, the prep work, and the cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. Again, I've been ordering them for over 2 years. Anno's new favorite is the honey mustard chicken. I'm still kind of on the pork, cheddar, chili, and mac train myself. But with over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan and veggie, and more, you can't really go wrong. Chef-prepared meals on the table in minutes with Factor's ready-to-eat meals so you can get back to enjoying summer, or in my case, grinding out exotic class armor. Cut down on trips to the grocery store and do what I do. Put your feet up 2 nights a week knowing dinner's all taken care of. Head on over to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Fallout50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. Again, that is code Fallout50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Thank you, Factor. Alright, back to Khvostov. Before we get to the salt, how about we cover the sweet? Khvostov in PvE is actually really goddamn fun. The ricochet effect is straight up free crowd control, and with how easy it is to mow through trash in PvE, the addition of just one kinetic siphon mod means not only a bunch of orb spawning, but kicking Khvostov into high gear. Orbs of power strengthen the next few ricochet shots, allowing them to ping multiple targets instead of just the one nearest to the thing that you're shooting. Grab orbs of power by shooting them via the built-in shoot to loot perk and you're made in the shade. It also really helps a lot that kinetic weapons both build your light and dark transcendence bar on prismatic at the same time. Add on Facet of Grace for even more gains and both radiant orbs and elemental siphon from the artifact, and you're looking at a rock solid workhorse of a primary weapon. Generate orbs, free crowd control, free elemental pickups, long range orb pickups, and free radiant on top. Dub after dub with the Khvostov and artifact combo in the PvE department. In fact, I'd say the only downside of Khvostov in PvE is how you actually acquire the gun, which I'll admit is about as fun as getting lemon juice on a paper cut. I do happen to think that the better guns in the game should be a bit tougher to acquire, but man, they really went all out on this one. A ton of grinding involving both doing a lot of assist missions and copious amounts of overthrow, which, don't get me wrong, I don't mind overthrow, but good lord, the repetition. I straight up know veteran players who have not yet grinded out Khvostov because they know how much of an ordeal it is, and they're just not ready to make that kind of commitment yet. But I digress. Why don't we talk about Khvostov in PvP? If you didn't know, the gun has absolutely smashed into the trial scene like the goddamn Kool-Aid Man. This past weekend, Khvostov racked up well over 4 million kills in trials and 25% of all overall weapon kills. That's across both primary and special weapon kills, by the way. Basically, 1 out of every 4 deaths in trials is the result of the Khvostov. So what's the reason? Why are so many people flocking to this weapon? It's not like 600 RPM auto rifles are a brand new thing. They've been in the game for quite a while. The answer, obviously, is the nostalgia factor. Guardians yearning for the simpler times, back to our first days of using our most cherished weapon. I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, there's 2 main reasons I'll get into one at a time. Ease of use and a particularly annoying and effective strategy that's not really a secret at this point. Main reason number 1, ease of use. If you didn't know, Khvostov has a ludicrously generous amount of baked-in aim assist, 87 total right out of the box. Go ahead and open up D2 Foundry and look through any other 600 RPM auto rifle, and you will notice that the vast majority of them have nowhere near that close, usually landing in the high 50s or low 60s. Keeping in mind the existence of kinetic targeting helmet mods you can slap on too, and now your overall bullet bend on Khvostov is a mind-blowing 95. Two other factors that fall under the ease of use umbrella is the default zoom value of 17, slightly higher than most other adaptive frame autos, and a 97 recoil direction. It may not sound like much, but other adaptive autos have way lower recoil direction values. The bottom line is that Khvostov's base stats are really juiced for a 600 RPM auto, and therefore it's a very user-friendly weapon in PvP that doesn't require a lot of practice to master. Main reason number 2, its role in a fairly effective strategy, which is not really much of a secret at this point. Because orbs of power juice up the offensive punching power of the gun, not to mention you can get free radiant via the artifact, PvP players have found a straightforward pairing with the new Speaker Sight helmet. It's really a 2-for-1 deal. You get free healing via the turret, but players are often dropping turrets in 3v3 before taking any damage at all. Because of the Lost Voice trait on said helmet, healing occasionally spawns an orb of power. TLDR there, free healing if need be, and free orb generation to immediately ramp up Khvostov's ricochet damage and get free radiant. Not exactly an unbeatable strategy, but definitely one to rattle the meta. And by the way, not like I'm letting the cat out of the bag here. If you spent more than 5 minutes in trials last weekend, there's a 99% chance you fought a team using that strategy, but maybe you didn't realize the details of what was happening until right now. In short, a math formula on the situation. Ease of use plus effective strategy equals 25% kill rate across the board. I'm not a psychic, but I think it would be an easy prediction that if future trials numbers continued in this direction, then either Khvostov or the Speaker Sight helmet, or even both, could get put under the microscope. If that does happen, here's hoping the powers that be on the sandbox team remember that you can change things in PvP without affecting them in PvE. You picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah, you know. Anyway, in the meantime, if you're looking for a way to combat the rowdy ricochet rifle, might I recommend the Red Menace. Available for everyone at Season Pass rank 40. Out in the open, admittedly, Khvostov has the advantage IMO via the ease of use factor. Hold down the trigger and just melt players if they're standing out in front of you with no cover at all. One thing Khvostov and all auto rifles have difficulty doing is peek shooting, aka peeking out from behind cover very quickly to land big damage before swooping back behind cover. Hand cannons and high-impact pulse rifles can do this quite well, and it's one of the areas where Red Death shines. Even in the Khvostov meta, I ended up going flawless with Red Death. Granted, your experience will definitely vary, nor is this a guaranteed hard counter of any kind. A phenomenal player with Khvostov will beat out a mid player with Red Death the vast majority of the time. But again, I did find a lot of success playing corners very tightly with the Red Death. Pre-firing, peek shooting, and team shooting the bejesus out of players who just wandered around with the trigger held down, hoping their bullet bouncing baby would take them to the promised land, no questions asked. As always, I'm interested to know what y'all think about the Khvostov. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and be sure to let me know if you're either a PvE player or a PvP player, because I'm curious. Thanks very much for watching. Peace!